We all love to hear about the success stories. So are we ready to hear another one? Well, sorry to disappoint you, but I'm not going to talk about success story. What I'm going to talk about is failures. I'm going to talk about rejections because that's what all people face in these times, right? So we all want to be successful, but problem is since childhood we have been conditioned just to succeed, get good marks, find a good partner, get a good job. But nobody has ever told us that how do we manage those failures, right? You might call them any name rejections, failures, denials. They're all inevitable part of human life. Before I move forward, I want to take an opinion poll from you. Okay, are you ready to participate? Okay. So, with a show of hands, tell me how many of you have faced success in life? Some bit of it. I know success means different to every person, right? And how many of us have failed in life or faced rejection in life? Okay. And the last one, and how many of us think that even despite facing those rejections, challenges, we're still doing well in life? Okay, that's a good answer. Thank you so much. You are a wonderful audience. Okay. As you see, rejections have different names. And I had my own set of failures, since childhood coming through. But yet, how we look at it is a different way of it. So earlier I was always crying or complaining or blaming others that there's nothing right in my life. Blame family, blame friends, blame the office people. But what was I going to do about it? So I thought, okay, since rejection is such a big matter, I've thought of getting some numbers out for you guys. We are growing every day. Not just India, global economy is growing every day. If you look at the numbers, out of just 250 resumes, one person gets selected in a job interview. 249 rejections. And still, most of us have jobs, right? And if you look at 9 of the 10 startups have failed in last 1 year. It's an ongoing number. But we still see so many startups doing well. People are still ready to invest. People are still downloading new apps, be it for anything else. And you also look at 2 out of 10 businesses fail in the first year of operations. So, have we given up? Are the new businesses not starting? Or have people started to give up that, okay, I'll not do a business, I'll not do a startup because they're failing? No. Because the human race is based on hope and faith. That's what keeps us going, right? And when people come to me for counseling, for relationships, there is this number. And if you look at the reasons of people rejecting a marriage proposal, few of the reasons you will find very silly, right? Somebody has mentioned that unromantic proposal setting, 67% of the people who participated in the survey said that was the reason they rejected the marriage proposal. And there are similar more reasons which are coming through. Well, these are just numbers, right? And we are smiling looking at the statistics. But there would have been people who, in the background, who would have gone through anxiety, stress, depression because of these failures. What about those people? Some people would have succeeded, moved on, but I think 80 to 90% people give up. They stop believing in relationships. They stop believing in giving interviews. They stop believing in putting their skills ahead. Then how do we move forward? So talking about my failure story, I quickly will introduce myself. I am Gagandeep Siidhu and also known as VitaminG on social media. I'm working as a senior vice president within MNC in digital analytics and also pursuing my dream of helping 1 million souls by 2025 by becoming a life coach. I have a 17 years of experience in corporate and human psychology, but I have my fair share of learnings, failures, rejections. My life has been just like a stock market. It goes up, it goes down, it goes up, it goes down. It's volatile. But any stock market has fallen down. There is a great time of depression, but they all come back again. So if I talk about how many times I have been rejected in a job interview, in a business proposal, and numerous relationships, The list can go on and on and on. It's just that we have a time duration, so I'll keep it very short for you. Okay? So my journey, when I was born in a small town of Punjab, and of course I'm the youngest one in the family, and I was born with a golden spoon. We had all the privileges in the family, and thanks to my parents that I could actually have all the necessity luxuries, in 1980s, which not many people could afford right now. I remember, one day I was crying. As I said, I was a cranky kid. One day I was crying, and I was crying for hours. And my father came back from the business meeting, and he asked my mom that why is he crying, And my mother answered that, he has again broken all his toys, and he's crying. What should I do about him? The next moment I remember is my father dragged me into Maruti van, the same van which is being used in Bollywood for kidnapping and ransom. And I was still shocked because I was crying. And I was not sure, am I going to be put into the hostel or I'm going to get thrashed? And we went to Chandigarh, it was around 30, 40 minutes away from my home. And I was still crying. The next memory I have is I came back home with that Maruti van full of toys and games. Every time I look at this, I fall in love with myself again. Why I'm showing you this picture is, no matter how many hardships I've gone through in life, whenever I look at this picture, I feel happy again. This is one of my core memories. No matter what will happen in life, I will go back and look at this and cheer up again and give it back to on my feet again to get going. And I'll tell you why I'm showing you this picture later on, how that core memory works for you. Well, I was an introvert and never had too many friends. And I was okay in academics. So there were a lot of self-doubts because I could not talk to people. And a lot of questions inside an introvert head. And I was the youngest one, had an isolated childhood. My siblings were elder to me. So after a couple of teenage broken relationships, I decided I'll put my focus on studies. Next 3 years, it was me with my books in my room, and I was preparing for CA as well as MBA. Well, finally, after scoring great marks in MBA, I scored 98 percentile in CAT, and I was all set to get into a business school. That's where the first shock of my life came, the conscious one. At the same time, my family went through a huge financial crisis. And suddenly, from being a privileged family, became a less than ordinary family. My world had shattered. Outcome? I could not get myself admitted into an MBA school. The 3 years of effort gone null. The life had rejected me one more time. Then I got some courage. I borrowed some money from my elder sister and came to Delhi in 2005. And people who are pursuing CA here or anybody in their family has become a CA or they know about it, that I came here to pursue and complete my CA final. And I was going to enroll for the direct tax classes because they're very relevant for you to pass those exams, right? So I remember going to that institute in Jhandewala, going to that reception table, going to that lady, giving her form that, okay, with some enthusiasm, okay, at least I'm going to start new, at least if not MBA, I'm going to crack CA. I'm going to make things work out of it. And I gave her my form, and she looked at me, and she said, we do not take registration fees, we take the whole amount of the curriculum. Okay, so I went back, I called my father. It took me 3-4 days or 5 days to arrange money because in 2006 it was not an NEFT world. It was not very digital, right? And I assume after a week or so, I went back to that institute again with, all pumped up. Okay, today I'm going to get started. So I went up with that money and that form to that lady in red sari there. She took my form and she looked at me, and with a straight face, she told me, "Sorry, Gagan, the registrations are closed. Please try next year." I was numb because that was the only hope I had. With no financial support, family busy in resolving their own financial crisis and other crises, no friends, new to a big city like Delhi. I don't recall till day how did I get back from that institute to my hostel in Lakshmi Nagar. All this while there were two voices in my head. One voice would say, "Die, Gagan, it's not worth it." The other voice would say, "You're stronger than your problems." I don't know what kept me going, but I locked myself in that room for next 2 days. I cried for almost 2 days, 3 days without eating anything, not talking to anyone, not taking phones from the family, and never had friends though. Then I gathered myself again. All right, I'm here in Delhi. I can't go back to my city. I have to make something work. So I started preparing for interviews. Coming from a small town, not very great with English back then, I started preparing for interviews. And believe me, after 17 rejections in job interviews, 17 rejections, I finally got a job in MNC. Fast forward 10 years, 2016, with 1,000 plus more rejections in my life, I was still clueless about how to manage my broken relationship, how to manage my relationships with family, how to handle finances, a lot of debt piling up. But life was just going on and on. But one good thing happened all these years was I became an avid reader. I started reading a lot. And hence one day I was reading about law of attraction and also some articles on psychology. Some of the articles on psychology and rejection mentioned that, don't take it personally. Life is unfair to all of us. But who doesn't know that, isn't it? We all know that. But how do we process that? Never mind, still went ahead. I manifested a lot of things in next 2 years using law of attraction, changing my subconscious mind patterns. I manifested my first international trip. I manifested a dream job, started my business, started losing weight, even bought a home in next 2 years. But still the things were not up to the mark as I was looking for because I was not healed from inside. I was running away from rejections. I was running away from the family. I was running away from relationships. I was running away from changing myself. I remember one hot summer night in 2016, I had a huge argument with my supervisor at work because I was overlooked for a promotion. I worked hard for that promotion for almost a year. When it was almost being given to me, it was snatched from me. Do you know the feeling when you almost had it and somebody took it away from you? Believe me, that's the ugliest feeling in the world. I just wanted that miserable day to end. So I took my car. It was an old Santro. And the AC was also not working the hot summer of Delhi, and I was traveling from Gurgaon to Noida. It took me 2 hours to reach from Gurgaon to Noida without AC. I just wanted that miserable day to get over. Because the voices in my head were still talking. They got lighter, but they were still talking. So as I got home, I was just browsing through my phone to get my thoughts away from all that disputed argument with my supervisor, all the rejections which were happening. To my surprise, I came across a speech from great Steve Jobs, which in synopsis said that you can only connect the dots looking backwards. And something changed that night within me. And I started connecting the dots. Well, I was always complaining about being rejected, about being a failure. But when I looked at in last 10 years, I had made my life up to an extent by changing myself, by developing new skills. If I was rejected for a voice process in a BPO, I started learning English. I started learning, adapting more skills. So I started facing those challenges. But all this while, because I was always complaining, I never realized that, okay, I've come this far. Life is not that bad. But we were always in a complaining mode. So as I moved ahead, one day I remember, I'm sure most of us would have come through a cab or an auto here, or ever used a cab and an auto in NCR, right? So how many of us have ever booked a cab successfully in one go and the driver agreed? Not many. I've traveled from Gurgaon to Noida. Believe me, 10, 10 times the driver cancelled. After 5 cancellations, 6 cancellations, our focus is to reach our destination, isn't it? We get upset about it, okay, we're paying money, but why are they rejected? But you particularly then book a cab from some other app. Your objective is to get home or to get to the destination, isn't it? But the thing that needs to be noticed is, in this case, we don't feel bad. We don't take it personally. While you are a customer, you're paying. You're giving him or her some money, which will help them run their house. But in this case, you're not taking it personally. Why is that so? Because your goal is clear that, okay, I have come across a challenge in my, reaching my destination. And even if the cab driver rejects, I will book another cab, or I'll take an auto, I'll take a metro, I'll look at alternatives. But what the problem in today's world with most of the people is, because of social media, Instagram, Facebook, the comparison is there. So how do you manage that? In fact, when I started deep diving that, okay, am I the only one getting rejected? Like you guys showed me the hands, and if you looked around, all of us have faced rejections in life, isn't it? And we're still smiling. So if you look at some people, let me show you that. So these are all world-renowned personalities. Can you tell me something what's common between all of them? Number one, they're famous, they're successful. There's one more thing which is common between all of them. They all have been rejected. The gentleman here, Colonel Sanders, he's the owner, founder of KFC. He started his journey to build that with the chicken recipe at the age of 65. And I'm talking 100 years back. When there was no phone, no social media, he took almost 1,007 rejections before somebody really agreed to use his recipe. And rest is history. 1,007 rejections. And we give up after 10, 15, 20. Similarly, MS Dhoni, J.K. Rowling, and the great, late Rakesh Jhunjhunwala. His father denied him 5,000 rupees in 1986. He wanted to start his career in stock market. If he would have given up, he is an inspiration to so many people who want to get into stock market, learn, and build their own legacy. These people never gave up. So, is your excuse bigger than your goal? That's what you have to look at. So, these are the people that you look at them that, okay, at least you get an inspiration. You read more about it. That, okay, how can I face rejection? How can I handle them better? In my lifetime, what did I change? I started realizing that, okay, all this while I was running away from rejection and failures, I was only doing damage to myself. Then I started enjoying the process gradually by changing things. For example, when I got rejected for a job and interview, not one time, 17 times, and even after that, maybe 100 times till now, what would I do? I would activate my core memory, as you saw myself as a kid. That will instantly bring a smile on my face. And then I take a deep breath and write down what are the options which are available to me. What skills am I missing? And I used to take feedback from the interviewer or the person who was conducting the interview that what can I improve? And believe me, I've taken more than 10,000 interviews in last 16 years of my illustrious career, and maybe only 10 people have come back to me that Gagan, tell us what do we need to improve so that we get selected for this job. So started asking that why. And when I started my public speaking journey, the person who's standing, I've been introvert throughout my life. Believe me. Forget about talking to 2 people at a time and to addressing thousands of people now. I challenged myself, and everybody can. So when I started my public speaking journey in 2017, I remember sending a proposal to an institution for my talk. And they told me, okay, Gagan, you're not fit. And hence we're overlooking your profile and we're looking at other speakers. And one simple question which I adapted after that was ask for it. Why? So I said, just need your 10 minutes. She said, okay. And we spoke on the phone. She said, we were looking for a female speaker because it was somewhere around, around the Women's Day. And at the same time, the next sentence she said that, okay, maybe I can, direct you to somebody who's actually looking for your type of content. So just a simple question, why, changed the whole course of direction. If it was my earlier self, I would have locked myself in the room, blamed the whole universe, blamed everybody, and would not have done anything about it. So in any scenario, if you are being rejected, look at what can you do about it. At the same time, the entire human race is based on faith and hope, right? We all go to bed every night with a faith and hope that we'll wake up tomorrow, right? It will be a good day. And that faith and hope, when inculcated with some actions, can actually bring you great results. And at times, we are not able to see the bigger picture. I love this image on the internet. I truly, whenever I'm lacking something, I look at it. Look at this, little girl. She's holding a teddy so close to her that she doesn't want to let it go. But at the same time, God is holding back something bigger for her, a bigger teddy. But she is in the present that I don't want to let go because this is what matters to me. But the universe is holding bigger things for you. I look at this picture every time whenever I feel rejected. So today, I want to take this opportunity to thank all the rejections, all the people, all the job interviews I failed. I want to thank them because if it wasn't for that, I would not have been here. If I would have become a CA, I would not have been pursuing my passion and dream of helping and coaching and guiding people. If I would have not failed in relationships, I would not have found my soulmate. My wife is here today. If I would have not lost money, I would not have ever known the value of money. If I was not an introvert, I would not have truly got the great friends I have today. So thank your rejections. Move forward with the indication that something great is waiting for you. Hope, faith, and action. That's what will keep you going. And that's what I want to share is that, there's no limit to what this human mind can achieve. Every rejection is pushing you towards becoming your better version. I have started enjoying all the rejections and failures. And it has helped me build a community of almost 100K people on social media just by sharing my daily dose of positivity. And it's an inspiration to me when I said I'm not going to talk about success story. My story is all about failures. So my failures have landed up here. So if you are going through some tough time in life right now, find out your core happy memory, take a deep breath, and ask yourself, how I'm going to change my reaction to it. So for me, rejection is nothing but just a redirection. So next time when you feel rejected, what I do usually whenever I feel rejection is that I ask myself, Gagan, what are you going to do about it? So I'll leave you guys with a question So next time you are rejected or face a failure, ask yourself, what am I going to do about it? Thank you, everyone.